Hey everyone, welcome back to Vibes and Vines. I'm Kira Matalasi, a plant mother and a music lover. And today I am here to show you some of my new plant babies, give you a little update on some other ones, and then show you how to transfer your plants from your nursery pots and into your new pots. As usual, remember to click that like button, click the subscribe button, and hit that notification bell to be notified every single time I post, because who doesn't like to be notified about plants and music? And also me, because I think I'm pretty cool to watch. After you do that, go ahead and sit back, relax, and let me introduce you to my new plant babies. A few weeks ago, I did my first ever little plant swap, and it was from my now friend, which is kind of weird because she was my babysitter as well. But her name's Kendall, and she was moving to a different state, and then she was like, oh my god, I can't keep all my plant babies in the pots I want, so do you want them? And I was like, of course. So now I am their plant godmother, because I can never take the place of their mother. But let me show you some of the ones she gave me. And this one is going to be an Ichmea fasciata. It's also known as the silver vase plant, or the urn plant. And you can kind of see because it kind of has this the shape of an urn. And then it kind of looks like an octopus too. And then it's going to have all these little offshoots. This was the main mama plant. And then here's the babies on either side. So the cool part about these plants, like an octopus, is that, I don't know if you know, but I'm going to put you on. So octopi, once they have the females, once they have their babies, their whole job is to survive, have babies, and then die. So once they have them, after they nurse them and protect them and take care of them, which is pretty interesting, because when I was looking up this plant, I know you might have seen these in the grocery stores, and they have a big flower that comes at the top. It's usually yellow, red, pink, green, I think I've seen sometimes. But after it flowers, it's still going to be alive, but it's slowly going to die off. But it's definitely okay, because you're always going to have these baby shoots that still work. So, ooh, this one's kind of falling off, but I'll water it, it'll be okay. And the other plant I got, I was hella excited because I currently have one of these, but it's not doing too well. But this one is gorgeous. It's going to be a Scindapsus pictus, otherwise known as a satin pothos. And then if you get hella close, you can really see the velvety texture and the beautiful silver accent marks to it. The reason why I like this one is because mine came in that's my cat, by the way. My hey Draco, where are you going? Okay, he's not being a part of the filming process, I guess. The lights are too much. But the reason why I was really happy and fortunate to get this one is because they're really easy to take care of. And the one I currently have is in a Kokodama or Kokodama ball. And I got it from Home Depot, so it kind of had plastic in it and it wasn't cute. I have a mutual on Instagram who I will plug right here somewhere. And he does an amazing job of creating his own Kokodama, I don't know, forgive me for mispronouncing, but you should really go ahead and check out his page. But this, I'm so grateful. Thank you so much, Kendall. I really appreciate it, and I promise I will take the ultimate care of these babies. Some other new babies I got the other day, which I wasn't looking for houseplants, but you always find them when you're not looking for them. So I found this fern, and I am unsure about what kind of fern there are, because there are thousands of different types of varieties of ferns, so the girl was having trouble. But it's really beautiful. It kind of reminds me of a maidenhair fern, so if you feel like you might have an idea of what this is, please let me know. But this is really beautiful. It is gonna differ from a rabbit's foot fern, because you can't see, or other ferns that usually have a rhizome base to them. They come out of the soil similar to a Boston fern or a jester fern. But I still don't know the variety, but it seems really nice because ferns like these, you really don't have to worry about getting the rhizomes all wet and worrying about root rot as much. So I really like ferns like this are not easier to take care of per se, but yes, per se also. The next fern that I got, because they're all ferns because I'm a fern mama apparently, is going to be a blue star fern. And then, as you can tell, it's got its name from the fact that it has a bluish tint to it, especially the vein right down the middle is kind of like a bluish color. I don't know if you can tell, but it's really beautiful. And unlike what I think is a maidenhair fern, the other one I showed you, these are going to have the little fuzzy rhizomes in there. I don't know if you can see it. Yeah. So this, you definitely would want to be more careful of running into root rot. So I'd really encourage you to bottom water this one, where you just take a bowl of water, preferably filtered or that's sat out overnight. And then it'll just soak up all what it needs, so you don't really have to worry about overwatering as much, which is really nice. And I also have a watering video on top and bottom watering that I posted last month. So go ahead and check that out. It'll be up here somewhere in the YouTube notifications. I also named them Littlefoot because I don't know if you remember, but the Land Before Time, Littlefoot, the dinosaur, him and his mama always used the tree stars.
It is very special, and it'll help you grow strong. Where we are going, there are so many of these leaves.
The last new plant I got was kind of, I haven't made a video about it. It hasn't appeared on any of my videos, but it is going to be very similar to the satin pothos, but it's going to be a Scindapsus exotica. And I love this one because it is such a fast grower. It's an amazing resilient plant. Is very similar to pothos and philodendrons in that it can take a little bit of neglect, not like neglect, but like if you forget to water it, it's gonna bounce back real easy, because it really likes to kind of get to a decent amount of dryness before they need some water again. This one's super nice. It's not even potted. I'm gonna pot this one today to show you because its roots are screaming at me. So it comes in a real small pot, but what I love is like all the new growth that pops up literally every single day. So if you really want something rewarding, like you want a plant that's, you know, a really fast grower, maybe you just want to see your own progress as a plant parent and don't want to start off buying a big one, this is a really, really nice one because I'm kind of like that. So those are all of my new plant babies, and now I'll get into the visual cues to let you know when it's time to repot your plant, and then we'll get started and go into the planting, and I can show you how I pot up my plants. The first one I'll take in as an example is the fasciata. So this one, it looks real big, right? It looks like it might even be able to go up in a pot size, but you'd be wrong, but it's okay because I've been wrong before. Because you can never be right if you're never wrong at first, so, or you can never win if you don't fail. You know what I'm saying? So it's trial and error, but I will let you know so it's a little bit easier. But this plant initially looks pretty big, but my first indicator is looking at the bottom, because when you want to repot plants, they're going to start screaming to you. And by screaming, I mean that they are going to start searching for water, and the roots are going to start to go outside of the holes of the pot. Plants don't need as much care as we think they do. Like, of course we take care of them like we take care of ourselves, but these grow in the wild. Like, no house plant we have is naturally a house plant. Like, they're all from outside, so they find a way. Life always finds a way. So just make sure you're kind of leaving it as it would be in nature, because they don't get repotted in nature. So just really keep an eye on it and let it do its own G thing for a little bit, as long as it can, before it needs some assistance. Before I show you this one, please, just because you have a hella cute pot that you're trying to use, please don't just stick it in there for the sake of sticking it in there. Remember, these are all living things, and you can get a pot that'll fit perfectly in there. And until this is ready, then I'm gonna repot this in here, but just keep it how it is. Like I said, these go undisturbed in nature. They grow themselves just fine. So just let it do its own thing. But this one looks like, okay, maybe you can upgrade in the pot size And in the bottom, just like the fasciata, it doesn't need any help. A good indication of plants needing a repot as well is when you've already watered them, you know they're watered, you know they're getting enough sunlight, but they start to show signs of underwatering, overwatering. They might start to just wilt typically or curl inward. Now let's take a look at my Scindapsus exotica. So let's look at the roots, gorgeous. So you might be thinking, okay, it's gonna follow a similar trend to the other ones. It's really gonna be okay in this pot. And then if you look right here, you will see that some of the roots are coming out the pot, like right here, and they're starting to dry out a little bit as well. So yeah, you can kind of see that. And that's when you're like, oh, boop, boop. This needs to be repotted. And since it's such a fast grower, it's gonna do good in a pot that's a little bit bigger. One thing that I am going to note is that when you are repotting, you want a pot that's only like 1 to 2 inches wider and deeper than the pot you currently have. I'm gonna show you some ones that I'm going to include in this video that aren't necessarily new, but that definitely did need to be repotted for a multitude of reasons. The first one is going to be my Peperomia frost. It's sometimes called, I don't know if they're different, but sometimes people call them Peperomia silver, but it's very wilty. So what started to happen with this one is no matter how much I watered it, it would still stay dry and crusty on the top. So when you're encountering that, it's like a sign like, girl, get me out of here, please. I need a new home. And then so for a while, let me just take this out. For a while, I just stuck it in some moss right here. And it did good for a while, and then I kind of took it outside because I was going to repot it, and then it just kind of, since it's so windy here, it started to dry out. I'm going to go ahead and repot this, and I'm probably going to use potting soil mixed in with moss because I feel like the roots, moss is good when you want to encourage root growth when there's not a ton or the plant's looking kind of sickly, but once it's done, you want to, you know, bring it to a more heavier medium so the roots can do what they do. And then I'm going to take my other Peperomia, the Peperomia obtusifolia, I believe it's called. Y'all, I went through hell and back for this plant. This is a little tough. I'm not going to lie. It looks, I feel like I didn't realize how tough it was until like I started looking at other YouTubers and they were like, yeah, I have a hard time with this one. This one I would not put in a terracotta pot because this kind of Peperomia needs to be consistently moist. So I stuck this in some water because I was just done. I tried to soil propagate and it did not like me. It took a long time to take and I just got kind of like irritated. So I stuck it in, started to develop roots. Probably after a month, it started developing roots. So now that I've shown y'all my new plant babies, let's go ahead and get into the part that's easiest to learn. I'm a very tactile and visual learner. So for those of you who are the same as me, let's go ahead and get into it and let me show you how to pot these babies. The first thing I'm going to be repotting is going to be the Peperomia obtusifolia. And like I said earlier, that is going to require some damp soil. Because it requires damp soil, I'm not going to be using the terracotta pots. What I am going to be using is one of these plastic nursery pots that I collect and save over time. Because it requires a good amount of moisture, I'm going to take this potting soil. I'm going to take Unigrow's vermiculite. It's also good to put in soil mixtures that need to retain more water. It's also really good for seedlings. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to take a little bit of potting soil, probably about like a third of the way in there. Okay. Then I'm going to sprinkle some vermiculite in there. I still want to make sure there's some aeration in there, which is why I am going to add perlite. It's the same brand, Unigrow. What this is going to do is it's going to be like kind of like a little lava rock. It's gonna be really light, and to be honest, it kind of resembles styrofoam. And what's good about perlite is it's going to break apart like how dense the soil is. So you're really gonna get a good amount of aeration in there. The only thing you gotta be careful with perlite is that if you put too much in there, it could be too aerated and your soils might have a harder time establishing themselves because there's just too many air pockets. So you really want to find a nice balance. I'm going to take a pen top side down, of course, but I'm going to be careful not to fill it up all the way just yet because I still need to stick my cuttings inside. So now what I'm going to do is I'm going to take the cuttings and then I'm going to stick them in here. So that's what I'm gonna kind of slap it on the table to make sure, you know, it's all evened out. Then I'm gonna make a little hole with my pen and then stick it in there a little bit. And then just cover up the roots. And then you just kind of, so it looks like that. Ooh. Ooh, dang. Ooh. These roots are having a party. Look at these. Look at these. This is insane. Okay. So I'm going to stick them in here. Ooh. Not going to lie, I was hoping this was a little smoother than how it's going. But it's okay. Because life isn't smooth, you know? Life is a series of unexpected events that we just kind of get through. This is when you can kind of start to straighten them out a little bit and kind of press deep in there. It's also okay if they lean a bit afterwards. When this was leaning towards the sun, so once you kind of face it towards another window, that's when it's going to start, you know, going the other way to reach the sun. But this is a repotted peperomia. So now we're on the peperomia. The Peperomia frost. So it still does really good in moist soil, but also I'm going to add some moss in there and just kind of mix it up in there. And then it's going to have some branches in there, like right here, which is really good for the roots to grab onto. To be honest, I don't really mess with measurements a ton because, you know, you can just feel it. Like it's all trial and error. I'd say about a third of each ingredient if I had to really pick something. It's up to the ring of the pot, damn near. So this is what I'm going to go ahead and say. We're going to depart from the moss. I mean that's the moss. And then I'm going to place it, and then you can pick some off that aren't doing great. And then you're just going to fill it in. Phil. Rest in peace, Uncle Phil. For real. I hope this is kind of relaxing and like it's not boring. I guess I'll know when I'm editing and then I'll see. But also, I don't care. This is like my channel. I have to stop letting society's perception of things kind of tweak with how I operate in society because it really don't matter. Okay. Now this one is all potted up in terracotta. It's looking hella cute, and I will give you an update on both of these probably next month. Now we're going to get into my last baby I'm going to plant today, and this is my Scindapsus exotica. So I'm just going to take a little bit of orchid bark. What's nice about orchid bark is it's going to be chunky, so it's going to really give a nice chunk to the soil, but it's going to hold on, each of these is going to hold on to the moisture. So it's still going to do what soil does, but it's not going to be as dense. So this is easier to, for overwatering, if you don't want to overwater. It's good to make a chunky mix. And this is when I'm going to stick my glove on. I only do it for splinters because I'm not trying to get splinters. It is not fun. The Krusty Krab pizza is the pizza for you and me. So I'm going to take some perlite and give it a good amount of perlite because, like I said, these along with a lot of pothos, philodendron varieties really enjoy a nice aerated soil. So gonna want to get up in there. Then go ahead and mix it with love and intention. So this Scindapsus and all my new babies I potted are gonna do so good. Little stuff like this really makes a difference if I'm being real. Since I know how well this plant does and how easy it is to take care of, I'm gonna take earthworm castings and stick them in there as well. Confused on what this is? You can watch all of my other videos because it's worm shit. And then when you take the plants out of here, you're gonna wanna squish on the sides and then gently take it out and whoo! Look at that. So it is ready. And especially if you see at the bottom right here, when they start to form to the pot, I actually could have pulled it a little bit earlier if I'm being 100%. Just gonna wanna gently massage it. And then you start filling it up. Even if the soil's a little bit high initially, that's okay, because it's gonna be watered down. But yeah, so now I am done, and my Scindapsus exotica is planted in a beautiful pot that was only $2.99. But I'm not falling for capitalism, so it is like $3 and some change with tax, but that's okay, because boop. Thank you so much if you made it to the end of this video. I really appreciate it. If you're digging this channel and want to check out what I'm doing on a daily basis, go ahead and check out my Instagram. It's the same as this channel, so it's just going to be Vibes and Vines, VIBESN instead of an and, VINES. If you haven't done so already, please go ahead, hit the like, subscribe button, comment something nice, and then click that notification bell to be notified every single time I post. Just stay tuned for next week. Thank you so much for coming back, and bye.